My partner, 23, had a gig looking after kids for a really kind family we both knew from the community center. They were well off, so being at their place wasn't a hassle. To sweeten the deal, their younger kids were well behaved and dozed off easily. On a few occasions, she had me, 26, come over while she was babysitting and the kids were asleep. We never engaged in any questionable activities, though the atmosphere hinted at the possibility. This family had an older son named Robert. He was 19, but they didn't usually have him babysit due to his knack for mischief or his hockey practice. One evening, while she was babysitting, my partner suddenly stopped responding to my messages. I feared something was seriously wrong. She assured me the kids were asleep, but I entertained the slim chance of one of them waking up again. Waiting for an hour without any word, I decided to drive over there to check it out. Initially, nothing seemed amiss. No flashing police lights or ominous signs. Approaching the front door, I noticed a peculiar movement through the window. Peering through a small gap in the blinds, I was astonished to witness Robert being intimate with my partner. I turned away and attempted to open the front door, but it was locked. Just then, a car rushed into the driveway. It barely halted before Robert's dad emerged. Instinctively, I raised my hands and explained, "I just got here." Robert's dad paid me no heed. He hurriedly unlocked the front door, stormed in, followed by Robert's mom, demanding an explanation for their actions. My partner screamed, Robert yelled, and his dad instructed him to leave the house. Having unprotected premarital relations in their home with their younger siblings, a sleep upstairs was strictly prohibited. He questioned them on the potential horror if the kids had walked downstairs and witnessed them in that compromising situation. Glancing at my partner, who had hastily put on her underwear, he chided her for being the responsible adult and failing miserably. It was then that my partner noticed me standing in the doorway. She broke into tears, finished dressing, and sincerely apologized to Robert's parents and me before departing in her car. I realized I had no place there now that my unfaithful partner had left the scene. Just as I was about to leave, Robert's mom joined me outside, closing the front door behind her to dampen the heated exchange between Robert and his dad. She expressed sympathy for what I was going through, emphasizing that the end of one relationship didn't spell the end of the world. I thanked her and inquired how they became aware of the situation in the house. She revealed they had a concealed camera in the living room connected to their phones. They observed me every time I was at their house. But since they knew I was a well-mannered individual, they didn't mind me spending time with my partner. In fact, they felt their kids were safer when I was around. I shared everything with my parents. Even though I lived independently at this point, I needed their support. They assured me I didn't have to speak to my partner again. She had proven herself unsuitable for a committed relationship. Just then, she called me. She insisted she would never repeat the mistake. I believed her, but that didn't mean I wanted to reconcile. I asked her why she did it and what transpired. She explained that after Robert returned home, they started talking, and eventually, he straightforwardly asked if she wanted to be intimate. Without much thought, she gave in. It hurt to hear that. How could she not think it through? She yielded to her primal instincts with little resistance, assuming she wouldn't get caught. It was so unjust to me, her devoted boyfriend. I remained faithful even when a coworker made advances. Well, that phone call was the closure I needed to definitively decide I wouldn't continue the relationship. I conveyed on the same call, "All right, it was nice knowing you, but our time together has come to an end. I wish you the best," and hung up. She attempted to call me several times shortly after, but I never answered. Robert's parents had informed my ex's parents and the community center that they caught her being intimate in their house while babysitting. I didn't keep tabs on my ex since then, but heard she relocated out of town. Now let's get into today's second story. Let me share a poignant tale from my own life, hoping it remains a unique experience. Yet recounting this might offer solace if anyone else faces a similar situation. My spouse received an invitation to a corporate gala, a high-profile event demanding elegant attire. About 2 weeks prior, she began displaying signs of intense anxiety. She even questioned my commitment to attending, suggesting that if I preferred a quiet evening at home, it would be acceptable. Typically, she insisted on my presence at social events, and declining meant being handed a list of chores. The suggestion of relaxation was unusual. Reassuring her, I affirmed my attendance. As the gala approached, my wife became unusually fixated on her phone. She never explained why, and I hesitated to inquire. During a car ride, her phone connected to the car's Bluetooth, causing her to panic. When attempts to disconnect failed, her face turned crimson, and she stared out the window in evident distress. It was disconcerting. What was she so anxious about me seeing? During a quick store visit, her phone lay casually on the car seat. Temptation got the better of me, and I decided to glance through it. Texts revealed nothing of interest, so I turned to her email. An open message indicated test results available on her doctor's website, confirming a positive diagnosis for an incurable venereal disease. The shock of what I discovered was overwhelming. I wondered when she planned to share this troubling news. We hadn't been intimate for 3 months, an unprecedented dry spell. The results were dated 4 days ago. Did I share her affliction? My mind raced as she returned to the car with groceries. Thinking I had a brief window for further investigation, I did a quick search on her phone for WhatsApp and found a conversation with a person named Michael, the only Michael I knew associated with her being her boss. Putting her phone back, I waited for her return. She was relieved to find her phone, and we drove home, reaching the gala before I had another chance to check her phone. I refrained from sharing a bed with her and avoided any inquiries. Entering the gala, I pondered when she planned to reveal this distressing news. The possibility of her infidelity crossed my mind, but certainty eluded me until I got tested. Why? Unless she was having an affair, would she hesitate to tell me about this diagnosis? All of this raced through my mind as we took our seats at a table, where my wife left her small handbag. The idea of discreetly checking her phone crossed my mind. Her boss greeted us personally, his gallant gesture to my wife underscoring my invisible presence. She introduced me unenthusiastically, and his acknowledgement mirrored the indifference. When her boss asked for the first dance with my wife, I felt compelled to agree. Simultaneously, I seized the opportunity to inspect her phone. They whispered to each other during the dance, and it was odd enough to prompt me to investigate unabashedly. Opening her WhatsApp, I discovered explicit confirmation of Michael's impending arrival. Scrolling further unveiled plans for a covert rendezvous during my absence. My shock intensified as I saw them at the bar, deeply engrossed in conversation. Continuing my scrutiny, their exchange detailed their intimate encounters and expressed desires for more. My wife, burdened by her recent diagnosis, sought solace from Michael, who apologized for withholding the information. Her distress over disclosing the incurable ailment to her husband after 7 years of marriage unfolded through text. Michael suggested she might avoid such a revelation by leaving me for him. I documented these revelations with screenshots, dispatching the compilation to my own device. Using her phone, I disseminated this expose across her social media platforms, reaching an audience spanning the gala. Including derogatory messages about their colleagues, I observed attendees react with gasps and exchanged glances, locating my wife and her boss. In the ensuing chaos, her boss was urgently summoned away. Left alone, my wife returned to our table, visibly disconcerted. The room's gaze intensified as people confirmed the revelations of her affair and shared affliction. Displaying an unsettling mix of emotions, she approached me cautiously. I, feigning composure, declared, "I intend to initiate divorce proceedings. You are no longer my spouse." She sat beside me, bewildered, seeking an explanation. Returning her phone, I urged her to review her recent posts. Utter confusion registered on her face, transforming into agony as she comprehended the ramifications. Her boss's likely termination meant her own imminent dismissal. The scrutinizing eyes of everyone in the room now focused on her, solidifying the public acknowledgement of her affair and shared affliction. Aghast and repulsed, she wept uncontrollably, hastily collecting her belongings and leaving the hotel in the direction of my car. A slow journey home ensued, acknowledging every scrutinizing glance with a nod. The car keys remained in my possession, denying her transportation to my home. Upon reaching the car, she confronted me with crossed arms. I inquired about her intentions, to which she expressed a desire to return home. I questioned whether she referred to her parents' residence or her boss's abode. Shock and dismay contorted her expression as she implored me not to proceed. Undeterred, I affirmed my resolve, decreeing that she would never again set foot in my home or enter my car. Unlocking only my door, I entered, relocking it behind me. Her pleas shifted to desperate sobs as a crowd gathered outside the hotel, witnessing the spectacle. Abandoning the attempt to gain entry, she sprinted into the wooded fringe of the parking lot. My departure remained indifferent to her fate. Upon returning home, I disregarded her subsequent actions. A scheduled doctor's appointment confirmed my unscathed health, bringing a modicum of relief. Word circulated that her boss faced termination immediately after her boss managed to extricate himself from the unfolding turmoil. Departing town with my ex, they left behind her belongings, relegated between tarps outside. Her absence persisted. My dog became an invaluable companion through the tribulation. Rumors circulated that Michael severed ties with my ex after a 5-month liaison, sealing the chapter of her ill-fated dalliance. Thanks to everyone who took the time to listen to today's stories. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share your thoughts on the events in the comments below. Take care.